Welcome to the Michael Rivero What Really Happened radio show.
And aloha, America. Welcome to hour 2 of our show today here, and we've got Robert Wanek waiting on the phone line. We're going to go to him in just a minute and talk about schools as pre-boot camp. But without any further ado, Robert, aloha, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? You're not allowed to bring cameras into school? What if you're assaulted by a police officer? What if you're assaulted by a teacher? You're not allowed freedom of the press. What if it's a teacher's word versus yours? You're not allowed free speech. They're taking this all away just to prepare us for what's coming. Martial law's coming, and we know.
Robert, remind me again, how old are you?
I'm just turned 15 towards the end of the summer.
Well, Robert, I got to tell you right now, you are one of the most mature new 15-year-olds I have ever met in my life, and I'm going to tell you right now that you have a lot of courage. You're obviously very, very mature for your age. You've got a good grasp on what's going on in the world, and I hope you will continue to basically, I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get thrown in jail or anything like that. But, I think you have got a tremendous amount to contribute to our nation and our world by continuing on this path. And, I got to tell you right now, your parents should just be proud as heck of you for the young man that you are very obviously becoming. And now that we've kind of gotten past that whole situation, what is it you are planning on doing when you get into college? Have you decided on a career path yet?
Well, I really want to be doing I feel like going to college and maybe getting a degree in political affairs, because you see all these groups like We Are Change, and you see Infowars.com and all these other activist groups, and I still want to do some grassroots activism, but my main goal is to get into Congress, to get into the Senate, and actually get some legislation going.
Okay, we got to take a break here. We've got a caller waiting on the line, and so we'll be back to take that phone call and continue our talk with Robert after these words from our sponsors. We are talking with Robert Wanek on the air. We're talking about school as pre-boot camp. We've got callers on the line. We've got email coming in. One of the emails, good discussion today. This kid's got moxie. Yikes. 15 years old. Love his bravery. Absolutely in agreement with that. We're going to go to the phones right now. Kurt in Ohio. Aloha, Kurt. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing fine. What can we do for you today?
The whole purpose of public school is really to keep us enslaved and to train us to be such, which is why I get real frustrated with people who transfer the discussion from abolition of school to reformation. You will not ever reform a school because that is what it exists. Just like you'll never reform a crocodile to keep it from eating mammals, a school will never actually teach anyone anything.
That's kind of a rough analogy, and I'm not entirely sure you're correct, but I understand what you're saying. So, getting back to what Kurt was saying, Robert, do you agree that the school really just seems set up to actually crush down the best and brightest minds among the students and just sort of turn everybody into this one no child, this little pipeline, no child left behind, where we just slicing off these identical worker drones to fit into the corporate machine?
I mean, they definitely want to keep you in a bubble, but maybe not to the point where he's saying, because if you really fight the system enough in school, you're gonna get the best out of it you can. Sure, school can keep you dumbed down, and sure, they want to keep you uneducated. They don't want to educate you. Why would they want a free-thinking public? Why would they crush down their hopes of one-world government? They wouldn't want a free-thinking youth. The next generation needs to be just as dumb as this one in their mind. But the thing is, does it really matter what school does? Can't you be enough free thinker to go learn on your own? Can't you shut off the TV for a little bit? If you're really going to make a difference in life, school's not going to be that big with you. You're going to learn what you need to do in school. You're going to get out of school. You're going to go and you're going to find the facts on your own. Really, school, what do they teach you? Am I really going to need to know how to cook quesadillas and heck? No.
Is that what they're teaching you now?
Yeah. How many years of government class do you get? Half a year. How many years of economics do you get? 1 year. They don't teach you the essentials. They teach you what's required. They teach you what's required by the state. Your parents pay for you to go to school, but look what happens when you try to miss a day. Let's say you get corrupted against. Let's say you get let's say you just get bullied on by the system and you just don't feel like going to school one day. What happens? You get punished. Guess who's paying to go to school? You are. But yet you're going to get punished for not attending. It's all a money issue. They get paid for how many people that go to school. They don't care what you learn. They don't care about the students there. They want you to come and make them money. They'll get by with what they have to do. It doesn't matter. Like Kurt said, it doesn't matter how good the teacher is. The system is always going to bring the students down. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. There's a reason why half of the teachers are propagandists. Some of the teachers are military personnel. They just want a drill sergeant. They just want to keep you in line. They're like prison guards. They really don't allow.
Yeah, I've seen that. Robert, we got to take a break here for some commercials and stuff. Hold that thought. I want to come back to it on the other side of the break. Kurt, hang on for just a minute. We'll get back to you following these words from our sponsors.
This is the GCN Radio Network.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. Our guest for this hour is Robert Wanek. We also have Kurt on the phone from Ohio. And Kurt, do you have any last questions for Robert before we let you go?
Yeah, I would really like to ask Robert, is there any other kids in that school jumping on board on his side, or is he pretty much standing on his own?
Actually, many of the kids find this idea refreshing, and the more they hear of it, the more they want to know. I wouldn't say that it's full-fledged bandwagon right now. It's more like they're curious. They're just getting a taste of it. They want to be a part of this, and they're starting to realize what's going on. And before you know it, I believe that it's going to be different, and the youth are going to change because so many kids are starting to see that, believe in 9/11 inside job. So many kids are starting to get fed up with how they're being treated in our public school.
Well, Robert, that is so good to hear because none of what we do out here, none of what my generation does, and, I'm coming up on a birthday. I'm getting old. I got gray hair and the whole thing if you look at the webcam. None of this really matters. It doesn't really mean anything if the next generation just falls into the same traps all over and over again. And my strongest hope has been throughout these years that we've been doing this website is that we would create a generation of skeptical thinkers and free thinkers like yourself. And it is so refreshing to hear you talk and hear your sense of maturity and to hear that people are listening to you. And I think you are very wise and very prudent to be going into a career in politics and to run for office and to change the system from within. But I'm continuing to get more and more reader emails from people who are listening to this broadcast. They are as impressed with you as I am. And with your courage. And, it is really wonderful to hear somebody like you out there saying, yeah, we realize what's going on, and, we're taking notice and we're getting skeptical about the whole thing. So, Robert, before we let you go, we've got about another 4 minutes in this segment. Is there anything else you want to say to wrap up and get out to our audience?
Yeah. Just first off, I just wanted to ask you one last question, and I just I could definitely see that most people's views are a blatant, obvious no on this, and I can see why, but lowering the voting age to 16 or 17 years old, because these decisions that these presidents will make will affect the youth of the nation. They will affect 16 and 17-year-olds, and they screw up our future. They screw up our children's education, and why can't a junior in high school who's educated and knows these problems, why can't they vote?
Well, I'm actually in agreement with you because one of the points I keep making about the accumulating national debt is we have young people such as yourself who can't even vote yet, and yet as soon as you start working, you're handed your share of the national debt and said, this is what you will spend the rest of your life trying to pay off, which is a really good definition of slavery. John from California just dropped, and that's all well and good. Robert, we're going to let you go here, and I'm going to be communicating with you privately via email about some additional resources and stuff, but I have to tell you, talking to you has just revived my hope that we can turn this country around and get it back to being a constitutional republic when we have young people with your maturity. And, if all young people were like you, I'd say, sure, lower the voting age to 15, because I know 40-year-olds who are not as well and prepared to be voting in the elections this year as you. That was Robert Wanek, and I got to tell you, that is such an impressive young man. And when he runs for office, if I'm able to vote for him, I'm going to vote for him. That is the most positive indication of positive change that I've seen in a long time. And Robert, thank you for sharing that all with us.